you need help with addiction and don't know where to go, you can call the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration 24 hours a day. The number is 1-800-662-HELP or 1-800-662-4357. They work around the clock and will help you find what you need.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the Lifeboat. Happy Halloween, everybody. I don't think I said that on the last live feed, but it is that day of the month for October this year. Happy Halloween. Hopefully you're giving tons of candy out to little kids. I personally am shutting the blinds and pretending there's no one home. But nevertheless, it is Halloween. I'm really happy everyone has decided to join us here. Seventh Son, I appreciate that 5x5. I know that Mark Wages, sitting in the booth, so to speak, also appreciates that. People, the last live feed was great. It was a fun subject matter. I think it was something that don't drink the haterade. I just saw that. Yeah, I love that. Oh, look at that. Mark Wages, you got a 21 anchor salute. And that is a good thing. Fully deserving. People, before we get rolling on tonight's subject, which is, of course, not quitting, just wanted to say a couple of things before we get rolling. Number one, we had a couple of people that were new on the live feed the last time we were here, and we got a lot of great interaction from them. And just wanted to give a shout out to all of the new crew members. Right before I went live, we were dangerously close to 1,800 on the crew, which is, you know what, for where we're at, it's beyond my wildest dreams. And my thanks go out to everyone that's really helped make that happen. And I'm talking about all of you crew members, and of course, more than anybody these days, my partner Mark. Really appreciate all that he's done to keep the boat on a beautiful, even keel and looking really pretty while we do it. So today's subject, people. Oh, and could we please keep Miss Fiona Crispin in our thoughts and prayers? She's still really going through with that migraine, people, and you know, we all love her. So let's keep her in our thoughts and prayers. That's important to us. It really is. So today's subject matter, people, is near and dear to the heart of everybody on the lifeboat. Of course, I'm talking about not quitting. The reason that I held up on the second quitting is because the illustration I'm going to use today is someone who just didn't quit. Now, it's applicable, and it's something that you'll see how, you know, we tie all of this in, people. But human nature makes it so that discomfort makes us want to give in. It is the nature of humans. You know, when we start to feel discomfort, whether that discomfort be physical or mental, emotional, spiritual, all of those things start to erode at our determination. And determination is one of the key factors when you decide to get sober and leave the previous life behind and start partying, ending the drug game and start partying in a new life. You know, that determination is really what is going to carry you through on so many of those days where you just don't want to do it anymore. So this afternoon, I wanted to talk about a young man by the name of Chris Nitschik. And if you haven't heard of him before, you're probably going to have a pretty good idea of who he is by the time I'm done talking. But he is a boy that was born with some real challenges, the first of which was 2 holes in his heart. Before the age of 5 months old, they had to crack this young boy's chest cavity and perform open heart surgery on him. And that lasted for a period of time, but he had to have a second open heart surgery before he was 8 years old. 2 open heart surgeries before his 8th year. He was also born with very narrow ear canals. Now, this is a real issue in a lot of ways, people. First of all, because everything is connected, you have your ears going to your nose, going to all of those nasal and ear. This is why when you go to a doctor, you go to an ear, nose, and throat specialist, because it's all one big thing. And if you have narrowed canals and things of that nature, what happens is any small little thing you get becomes far, far more serious. And you end up with people who really, every small cold becomes something that in a lot of cases can be life threatening. And in Chris's case, he had 4 surgeries on his ears, also before he was about 12 years old. Every single thing that you could have as a challenge in life, this young man had to deal with. And because of the narrowed ear canals, there are certain other issues that come up. As most people know, your equilibrium is parked directly inside your ears. So it really hurts with balance and other things. And it also hurts reaction times. And it just makes things a real serious challenge just getting along in life. Things like riding a bike, things like being able to run without, falling down. Those balance issues really become something. And Chris Nitschke decided that at a young age, when he was about 18 or 19 years old, he decided that he wanted to run and compete in the Ironman triathlon. People, if you're not familiar with the Ironman triathlon, you talk about a competition that chose its name well. Ironman, right? It definitely brings forth a visual image in your head when you think about what that term means. But what it means in competition is a 2-mile swim that takes place most often in an ocean. So you deal with waves and you deal with salt water and all of the things that goes along with that. After you complete a 2-mile swim, you need to get on a bike and pedal 112 miles. When that 112 miles is over, you're 2/3 of the way done with this Ironman triathlon. Now all you got to do is run a marathon. 26.22 miles later, you will have finished an Ironman triathlon. That is, of course, providing that you did it in 17 hours. If you do it in 17 hours and 30 seconds, you're a stud, but you are not an Ironman. And that, people, is just the fact of the competition, and no exceptions are made for anybody. So when Chris Nitschke started to dream of competing in the Ironman, he did what most athletes would do, and he found somebody through the help of his dad. He got somebody by the name of Dan Grieve, and Dan was a stud. This is a guy that had been through 15 triathlons himself, competed and finished 15 triathlons. And he agreed, in spite of the person's really young age, because most triathletes are not in their early 20s. This is an event that usually people compete later in life. Now, obviously, you'd be in better physical condition when you're in your early 20s. But most people say that the Ironman triathlon is not really 3 events, it's 4. Because something always happens to every single athlete that competes in the Ironman, and it is that unknown factor, right? It is that thing that happens, whether it's blisters or whether it's, people get sick. There is always something that every athlete has to overcome in order to break that tape in under 17 hours. And this was no exception with Chris Nitschke. But first of all, when he started to train, he had not yet learned to swim. He also had not yet learned to ride a bike. So because of the narrowed ear canals and because of the balance issues, he had to take very special care in learning to pedal a bicycle and be able to balance doing it. When the first day that he tried swimming, he was unable to make it across a pool. And this was a man that was going to have to do 2 miles in an ocean. So as this training started, they came up with a very unique concept. As opposed to setting goals that seemed out of reach, especially for somebody with challenges, health-wise, they decided that they were going to try to get 1% better each day, just 1%. They had T-shirts printed up. They had things written on boards. Everywhere you could look, it said 1%. And over the course of the years, Chris Nitschke did just that. Every day, he shot for 1% better than the day before. It's a slow process. It really is. But what it did was it put a rock solid base, as opposed to people that try to get so much done so fast and don't really get the same kind of base performance. Chris really started to build himself into an athlete. And eventually he got to the point where they believed the time had come to enter him into an Ironman triathlon in November of 2020, the 12th of November to be exact. In 2020, Chris Nitschik entered the Ironman triathlon in Florida. And when he left the ocean, he was 15 minutes ahead of the schedule that they had printed up. And perfect, right? Life is going great. He then got out of his swim garb and got into his running gear and started to run. Unfortunately, at about 20 miles in, he started to experience blistering, which happens to a lot of athletes when you run that far. And I'm sorry, when you bike that far. And he got off of the bike and in the process of doing so, stood in an fire ant hill. He ended up with so many stings from fire ants that the poison in his ankles literally caused boils before the end of the race. But he got back on that bike and he started to ride. And then coming down an incline at about 50 miles into the bike race, he crashed, removed all of the skin off of one of his knees, took a very, very serious tumble. The fire ants cost him 20 minutes of time while they got him cleaned up, and 30 minutes it took to get him back on the bike and riding again after he crashed. They had to repair the bike. Nevertheless, Chris kept pedaling. The 112 miles got finished. And then all he simply had to do was run a marathon. This is really hard to wrap your brain around, people. And I'm going to have a bugger of a time getting through the rest of this story, because it's one of those things that is so inspiring, honestly, that it'll make you feel, number one, inspired. And number two, it'll make you feel like you really have not done a whole lot in your life when you start to compare yourself with some other people. But he started to run the marathon and really came into challenges. Unfortunately, he hit the wall, which is a term that marathon runners use, to where your body says, I quit. And your brain at that point has to overcome your body. You have to never quit quitting. You have to step up and say, I'm going to push through pain where my body really truthfully believes that I'm going to die if I continue to do this. The brain is saying, when you hit the wall, the brain is saying, hey, warning, you keep doing this and we're going to shut down. We're not going to be able to survive. But Chris Nitschik continued to push on at mile 15. At mile 15, it got difficult to the point where they had to call his dad out to meet him on the course for inspiration. And they started to come up with a system where he was going to sprint to get through 10 cones, because these cones had been separated specific distances. And his coach, who was running with him, said, look, if we can just run 10 of these, I'll let you walk 2. And a crazy thing happened. At the 15-mile mark, he was actually going faster than he had gone at the 3-mile mark. Something had kicked in terms of his determination and his drive. And he continued to run. And with about 30 minutes to spare, he broke the tape and got in under the 17-hour mark. And on the 12th of November, 2020, Chris Nitschik became an Ironman. The problems that he had at birth were as it turns out, the small things that I was talking about in the last live feed. They were the $12 light bulbs. The larger challenge for Chris Nitschik is that he has Down syndrome. In spite of that, he finished an Ironman triathlon. He trained and finished an Ironman triathlon, and in the process became probably the first poster child for the 6,000 kids who are born every year in this country with Down syndrome. And when they said, if somebody tells you can't do something, Chris, what do you tell them? His response was, bet me. Bet me. And I'm telling you people right now, when we're done with this, go look up this story. It'll take you about 12 minutes of your life to watch a little documentary that they put on, and it's all over YouTube. It'll take about 12 minutes. Spend that 12 minutes and watch the Chris Nitschik story and watch what this young man proved to the world. And he did it with a very simple rule. And that rule was he was not going to quit. Really, when we talk about not quitting, right? Never quitting. What we're saying is unique because what we're trying to do is quit. What we're trying to do is overcome. What we're trying to do is is push through the wall that we've hit, because our brain, as you start to try to get sober, your brain is telling you exactly what Chris's brain was telling him when he was 15 miles into that marathon, right? We can't do this. Your brain is saying, just quit, go back and do what you do. People, I'm telling you, if somebody with the challenges that Chris Nitschik was born with can set a goal like that and say, I'm going to get better 1% each day, what are we capable of? By the grace of God, or whatever else you would like to believe, everybody on this channel right now was born with some very serious gifts, right? Even if that gift is just not having a deficit, you were born gifted. I was born gifted. Mark was born gifted. This entire crew was born gifted. And I'll tell you something, people, when I watched this documentary on Chris Nitschik, this was the most difficult live feed that I have ever gotten ready to do, because I don't know that guilt is the right word. Shame. I think shame might be the word. I was built and given a series of gifts by the Creator, a ton of them. One of which is my ability to communicate. And you people see that every day. I'm here and I'm talking, and I don't have a problem, speaking to a crowd of people, whether that crowd of people happens to be a camera that I'm staring at. It's got a little round thing on it, so I know where your eyes will meet mine. Or if that happens to be actually 1,800 of you in a room, I would not be affected one way or the other. I have no problem speaking in public. It's just one of those things. I also was gifted in that I was not born with any deficits like Chris Nitschik was. And with all of the gifts that were bestowed upon me by God, I repaid him by sticking needles in my arms and by doing 6 to 7 grams of heroin a day for decades. Pretty much, people, is enough to shame the ever-loving you-know-what out of you. And it did to me. But as I've talked about so many times on this channel, we get to choose how we process things. So for a period of time, I sat in my room feeling massively ashamed of who I was as a person. And I opted to channel that shame into something better. And as I was watching the Chris Nitschik story, I thought to myself, this is something that the crew of the lifeboat needs to hear about. Because if someone with the unique challenges that this man had can set a goal and take care of it, how easy should it be? How easy should it be for us to decide to live our best lives? How easy is it for us to say, I'm going to get 1% better. I'm going to get 1% kinder. I'm going to get 1% more dedicated. I'm going to get 1% what? What is it in your life that you need 1% more of every single day? Is it organization? Is it love? Is it respect? Is it respect in yourself? Is it forgiveness? Tell you what, every day I get 15 emails from people that tell me that they cannot forgive themselves. I think the whole cannot thing has really got to stop. People, it's got to stop. At 15 miles, when his dad went out to talk, 20 miles, when his dad went out to talk to him and hugged him, he said, I don't want to do this anymore. And his dad said, you do. This was your dream. You want to do this. And it took him about 40 seconds for this kid with Down syndrome to get back onto what his dream was. So when you feel like going to the liquor store, or you feel like calling the dope man, or you just feel that being sober is really too much, reach out to somebody here, because I bet you it doesn't even take 45 seconds to get your fecal matter together and stop the process of slipping and relapsing. The only reason that people relapse is because they do it quietly. The only reason that people use again is because they do it in secret. If you reach out to anybody on this boat and tell them you're getting ready to use, you're not going to use. You're not. That's just who this crew is. The crew of this boat isn't going to let that happen. If they can't talk you out of what you're about to do, I bet you they get me on the horn, right? Or Mark or anybody else that you all have demonstrated a willingness to listen to, right? It's just a matter of saying, I'm never going to quit this quitting process. I'm not going to give in. You know, we allow this challenge of ours to become a monster. We allow this challenge of ours to take on some kind of an identity that is so much larger than it really is, right? I mean, honestly, I hear people every day. If you knew the number of emails I get, people, you know, we have a lot of people that watch this channel who don't ever comment. You know, we got a great group of people that comment all the time, but of the soon to be 1,800 crew members on this boat, there are hundreds of them that just watch this channel and don't say much. But I get emails from these people every day, and I'm not picking on anybody because I was that guy for so long. But they say things like, I just can't stop. I just can't quit, right? Words mean things. I promise you, there's a reason that you do positive affirmations. There's a reason that rote learning works. Because if you continue to repeat the same thing over and over and over again, it becomes a fact. And if you say, well, I just can't quit, I just can't quit, guess what? You'll be right. There is a very old cliche that whether you say you can or you can't, you're right. Guaranteed. If you say I can do this, oh, you will. If you say I can't do this, you won't. It's that simple. It sounds crazy, but it is that simple. The words that come out of your mouth dictate the emotions that you feel. Those emotions dictate exactly what you do with yourself. This needs to be something that is so cut and clear and just exactly what it is. People, we're just turning a page. We're not asking you to run a marathon after you swim 2 miles and bike 112. The determination to make your body do that, I assure you, will be far more difficult than the determination that it takes to say, I'm not going to do drugs again. I'm not going to drink again. The incredible thing is this, people. Chris Nitschke gets to tell the world for as long as he lives that he's an Iron Man. That's a really cool thing. Imagine, especially for someone with his unique challenges in life, to be able to proclaim himself an Iron Man is just awesome. But I'm telling you right now, to sit here in front of this camera with the life that I've led and say, I'm sober, it feels the same way. It feels the same way. Every day that I get up and I face the world, and I don't need to get high in order to face the world, I feel like an Iron Man. I feel like I'm partying. Do you understand? I'm partying. People, if you knew how many times this live feed ends and Mark and I sit here for an extra half an hour talking about just how happy we are in life. For real. There was not a time in my life, people, that I could sit and talk about how happy I was. That's crazy, isn't it? But that's the truth. For the longest time in my life, I bought happiness by the gram. It's no way to live. If you're living by buying happiness by the bottle, by the gram, by whatever, right? The next bet, the next video of two people having sex, whatever it is that you're doing as a coping mechanism for life, I promise you, when you can put that to bed and stick it in the rear view mirror where it belongs, you're going to feel like an Iron Man. You are. And, you know, I talk about putting different tools in the toolbox. You have to put a whole set of tools into this toolbox that we carry around when we're getting sober. People, I'm not saying that quitting is going to be a joke. It's not. It's going to be a challenge that you live with for the rest of your life. It's going, and depending on what you're quitting, you know, I am 6 years out, and there are days I have physical withdrawal. People may not believe that, but when your drug of choice was opiates, your body will just start hurting you. And the amazing thing, and most people who are recovering from that, they'll back this up. But on days that I'm really struggling mentally, that's when my knees will start giving me hell. That's when the shoulders that I had surgeries on will start giving me hell. my C6 vertebrae, which I broke twice, will start going off. I had 4 Achilles tendon surgeries on my right ankle. It will go nuts. I had a compound fracture of my left wrist. I had every bone in my right hand replaced. I had a very bad run that led me down the road that turned me into a pain pill addict and then a heroin addict. But that's the physical withdrawal I'm talking about. When I'm not in a good place mentally, my body will go, oh, we got him. Now let's send a little pain down the pike and see what happens. And that's something that I'm going to live with forever. But I'll tell you what, if you put tools in the toolbox that you can go to when those things happen, the biggest tool we got, the 5-pound maul that we have, is the lifeboat. Coming here in the comment section or going over to Facebook and just saying, I need help. I need to talk to somebody. That's the biggest tool that you got. But I'm telling you right now, people, when I start getting complacent, you want to know one of the tools I got? A 12-minute video of watching Chris Nitschik finish that triathlon. Seriously, I start feeling sorry for Tommy Scoville. I need to look at Chris Nitschik because I ain't got a leg to stand on if I want to feel sorry for my blessed carcass. For real. Every time something comes up, people, and it brings out an emotion, one powerful enough to put tears in your eyes, right? That's a tool. I promise you that's a tool. And it's something that you can go back to again and again and again. I am blessed that while I was in prison, my brother Johnny was running a YouTube channel. Most of you know that. You've seen him on here for interviews, and a lot of you probably subscribe to his channel. But for a couple of years, my father made videos with my brother. And there was a whole segment that they used to do where they would eat cheese. And people, when I'm really hurting, I will go and watch my dad on video. And the thought of letting him down, the thought of relapsing and what that would have done to him, I believe he can see me, people. I really do. Whether you don't have to believe that, but I do. And I'm never going to let that man see me put a needle in my arm. When he was on this earth, I could hide. I could hide. But I remember when my dad first passed away, and I was talking to Johnny on the telephone, and everybody in my family panicked when my dad died because, obviously, the biggest fear was Tommy's going to relapse. There's no way he gets through this without dope. And I remember saying to my brother that, honestly, with everything bad that was happening to me, I hadn't even thought about it. I really hadn't. I thought, boy, I'd like to, but the actual, man, I could do this just to get through never came to mind. And when he said, why? I said, because I can't hide anymore. I can't. Now I feel like if I'm hiding in the bathroom, he can still see what I'm doing. And it was really funny, people. It's actually a laugh out of this because my brother said to me, do you really think that, that Papa can look down and see us? And I said, I kind of do. And he goes, man, that makes me really uncomfortable. And I said, why? He goes, just the idea that he can see everything. Jesus is one thing, but Dad? And people, I can't tell you how hard I laughed, but it's just another tool in my toolkit. And every day, people, every day that I come here and I meet you people, and you guys send me emails, if you knew how many comments have gone into my toolkit, if you knew how many emails and how many direct messages have gone directly into my toolkit, I'm not even kidding you. I have a file, right, that I can go to on the computer when I need to be motivated, of people who said the most beautiful things. I read one of them on the air, I think it was last week, what the woman said, she's losing her mom, but she was thankful for 2 reasons: that somebody from the lifeboat had reached out to her during this time of need, and the fact that she's sober as her mom is getting ready to end this chapter of her life. People, I will read that thing 200,000 times before I leave this planet. It's one more tool in the toolkit that I have to beat this fight, to conquer my addiction, which I fight every day. You all are going to fight it every day. The good news is that now I put a whole lot less effort in to fight it than I did at 6 months, right? Or at 3 months, or at a week. If you are just quitting in a week, yesterday, and even on today's live feed, we had people chiming in and telling us exactly how long they had been sober. Seventh Son could tell you down to the minute. And that's usually the case when you're first starting back to, you got up and dusted yourself off. I think he told us, he was closing in on 14 days and he had it down to the minute. Well, those first days are tough. I promise you, with every day that goes by, it gets easier. And Mark isn't just a partner of mine. He's an inspiration. We had the same drug of choice, and he's at 10 years, people. It's a decade, right? The best part of that story is not only that I can lean on him, but I'm never going to catch up to him. There's not a doubt in my mind I will never catch up to Mark, which is one of the coolest things in the world that you can say about one of your friends. The beautiful thing is that when someone is solid and they're in recovery and they're living the life the way that you're supposed to, you're never going to catch up. But I'm not going to fall behind either. The gap between us and our sobriety will remain constant until I leave this planet. So before I open this up and start talking about questions, I like to turn this over to my partner. But before I do, because I really truthfully feel at this point that I can't say it enough, thoughts and prayers for Fiona. She's really going through it, people. And as long as I've been doing this since the Systroming day, I don't believe we've spent too much time here without Fiona. So we'd like to get her back as soon as possible. Thoughts and prayers, please, for Lady Fiona Crispin. It would mean the world to me, and I'm sure Mark as well. Now, this is the time, people. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah?
What's up,
Mark,
everybody?
how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good. Hope everybody out there is doing well. Yeah, I would echo that about Fiona also, guys. I mean, I know that sometimes when we ask for prayers and stuff, it's kind of like a thing that we kind of accept people just say, but we truly mean it when we say it. Because whether you're doing prayers or whatever your religious belief is, send positive energy. I really do think it helps. I've seen it with my own eyes. And I know that sometimes people have their own little glitches or whatever, but for me, just do us a favor, do her a favor, and throw her some prayers, positive thoughts, whatever you do there. So I would appreciate that myself. It's just, that's one of the ways we just support each other here on this channel. It really is. Again, we don't want to throw religion down anybody's throat, but at the same time, we want to make sure we're true to who we are, and we're not afraid to say it. So I think that's important. And we wouldn't judge you if you have different opinions. Put it in the chat. I mean, as long as it's constructive, it's cool. It really is. We never get anywhere further unless we are able to talk to each other, and that's just the way it should be. But yeah, that was a very inspirational story, and I think you hit it right on. That's just another good example of just life in general and how you can apply it to our recovery. It really is, and that story there in particular, if you're complaining about things about yourself, feeling sorry for yourself, sitting on a couch, this, that, or the other, you watch about 2 seconds of that, you'll quickly clam up and be like, "What in the world am I doing?" I mean it. And I think it's easy for us to understand how we can kind of get lapsed in that if you don't see it. You know what I mean? So you kind of start feeling sorry for yourself, and you're doing this, and you're doing the "oh, poor as me" and all this kind of stuff. And we all do it. I mean, we're all going to do it once in a while. But what makes us different is we recognize it, and we can, address it and look at those kinds of things and share it. So that was really, really powerful. It really is. That kind of stuff is. But yeah. So, like I said, guys, I just really think that this is a place where we can take anything that's going on in our lives and really apply it to what's going on in our recovery. Because it actually is, our life is recovery. It's never not going to be. And I know that for people that are just now getting into recovery or whatever, I know that sounds daunting. But let me assure you, like Tommy said, I got 10 years. It took a while, but I'm now back to not even thinking about things. Like, before, one of my accountabilities for myself was having my Suboxone. My wife dosed me every day. And at some point along that journey, I didn't need her to do that anymore. Now, I gave her those and I let her do that because it made her feel more comfortable. Okay? I knew I didn't need it, but now we progressed to the point where, my medicine's in the medicine cabinet. and she doesn't dose me every day, but she has access to it, so she can still check it. But what I'm saying is we progress at a certain level, and that 10 years is it gets better is what I'm trying to say. I guess that was kind of a long way to say that, but it most certainly does. But I don't want to paint a beautiful picture of how to get to there, because it's not a beautiful scene. Sorry, I hate to say it like that. It's just not. But it's not. I guess it's not as bad as what some people think. I think it's one of those things that's kind of in the middle there, and I do think it's different for each person. I really 100% believe that. You know, some people fight with the middle thing, some people fight with the physical thing, some people fight with both. But you know, at the end of the day, if you've got a good support system, you will find your way back to the top of the hill. You will. Because there's going to be a lot of people underneath there pushing you straight to the top. And, you know, you come here and you've automatically got close to 1,800 people that are willing to do that for you. It really is that way. So, you know, I really feel fortunate, and that's what I'm trying to say. And I know I said it a bunch, but my support system could be a model for everybody else's. And I never asked for it. It was just given. And for those out there that don't have it, I really am sorry. I really am, because I know it does make it way harder. But it is accomplishable. It is. If you don't have that, come here. Go to the Facebook group. Reach out to somebody individually. You can even do it anonymously. It doesn't matter if we know your name. If that's really what you need that privacy for yourself, and you just want some advice, you don't have to give up your name. It's not a requirement. You know, we just want to help you. So, anyway, that's my little boop.
I appreciate you, Mark. It's and it's such a great. I love hearing you talk about your support system every time. People, he's Mark is really blessed that his family has just really been there through every step of the way. But at any time I think about that, I want to never stop stressing the fact that if your family is not one of those families that is going to support you and hold your hand through the process of sobriety, may I suggest you choose a different one, right? That old cliche, you can't choose your family. Here at the Lifeboat, you most assuredly can. I have 1,800 brothers and sisters. Actually, I probably have about 1,750 brothers and sisters, because I have quite a few mothers that have stepped up to the plate and decided that they would like to become my second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh mother along the way. And right. I love and respect every one of them. The support that I get from the people on the boat, and it really, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, it really started to shift into something that it wasn't before. And I'm glad that this has come up, because I think about it all the time, and I always say how I'm going to discuss this on the channel, and then I always forget because I'm a squirrel. But a couple of weeks ago, it started to change to the point where now there are a group of people who reach out to me at different times. They don't do it every day, but because there's enough of them, it seems now that it's a daily occurrence where someone will just shoot me an email or a direct message that says, "Hey, Captain, you feeling all right? Is there anything that I can do for you? Is there anything I can pray for you about?" And people, it's not something, again, that you think about when you're putting something like this together. You really think that you're trying to put something in place so that you can help people who are struggling through addiction, through some of the pitfalls that you've made along the way, by telling people exactly how you got through it. Maybe you can give some hope. And that's really what the dream was in the beginning. And now there are so many sober people out there who are reaching out to make sure that I'm doing all right. And I remember the first one I got, I was like, damn. It was really one of those emails where I thought, well, that's just a really, really nice thing. Another thing, people, if you're new to the boat, I would encourage you to drop me an email and tell me a little bit about yourself. I've never done this, and it's a mistake, but I got an email from someone, and I don't know if I've seen him on the boat on this live feed. He certainly was in the last one. And he knows who I'm talking about. But he reached out with an email and just said, I thought I would tell you a little bit about myself. And that has turned into 3 or 4 emails that each would take you about 15 minutes to read. And I couldn't be happier, because I really have a handle on who this person is now. And when I see the name in the comment section, it's not just an avatar. It's a human being. It's a human being with a family. And I know who his kids now are by name. And I know the specific challenges in this man's life. I know that we graduated high school the same year. People, the connection between the captain and the crew, it's what I want most. It really is what I want most. And it's happening now. And it's not just happening to me. I know it's happening to Mark alone. I mean, as well, because Mark has, he's reached out to me recently and said, hey, have you heard from so-and-so? And when's the last time you heard from so-and-so? And it's really just a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It really is a beautiful thing.
And and I want to say this too. I know I say I am like, I'm 10 years sober, right? But when I say that, I don't say that for like an accolade. What I'm saying is that I've been through a lot of stuff, and I've seen it is a roller coaster at times. It really is. But I also want to say this. We can, look to those that aren't as far along in their recovery, and you can still learn from them too. I learned a lot from Tommy. I learned a lot just by watching this chat. I mean, honestly, it really is like that. When you find a place where people are going through similar things, they will go through them in their own way. And each little, ambiance there that somebody wants to pick up and take and run with, sometimes it is just that little piece that you need to make it through another day. And if, I guess sometimes you got to look backwards to go forward. It's kind of what I'm saying. But at the same time, you can't look to the negative that's behind you. You just really can't. As far as when it comes, I guess maybe that's the wrong way to say it. But if you look backwards and you look to people that are still trying to get to where you're at, yes, you have a lot to offer them, but they have a lot to offer you too. So don't forget that, those people that are in recovery for a long time, because you will. The further away you are from anything that starts that's traumatic, it most certainly does start to fade. That is part of our biological protection mechanism. It really is. Our bodies and our brain will actually start wiping stuff away. It's like defragging your brain, man. And it really does. Your body will do that. It's a biological thing, even. I did some research on that. It's crazy. Your brain will physically create brand new neural pathways. And once your brain starts firing the other direction, it's got to teach. And the way I look at it, it's kind of like a road that's under construction. Eventually that road will get pretty much done, but it's never done. There's always some construction going on somewhere. And if we can't forget that. And because if you think you're already there and you can, not have to worry about those kinds of things, well, go back and watch our trigger video we did. Because you don't even know when it's going to trigger you. It just does it. And and when it does, I hope you can come here or go to your support system and figure out how to beat that trigger or go around it, however you have to do it. There's no shame in running from that kind of thing. Just try not to see it. But again, your brain is really like I said, like a road construction. That's just how I look at it. Building neural pathways takes a long time too, guys. What is it, Tommy? When when you injure a nerve, what's to grow like a millimeter, like every 16 months or something?
Yeah, it's a ridiculously slow process. It really is. And inside the brain, the good thing is this: the initial healing processes for the brain happen very, very quickly. The ones that Mark is talking about, where you actually start to lay new roads for all intents and purposes, is a slower process. But if, for instance, the drugs that have been studied far more than any other is alcohol, because before people started abusing anything, they were abusing alcohol. And They say 14 days. The healing process for the human brain of an alcoholic starts 14 days after you remove alcohol from the equation. At that point, your brain will start to, the chemistry part of it will start to level out. Now, for those of you who are in sobriety for any length of time, we tend to forget some of the things that we went through, but the dreaming, the lack of sleep, chemical dreams are something that are so real, and it's such a part of sobriety. And I don't know that we spend enough time talking about some of the things that are going to be a reality. I should probably put a video together about this, but because this is certainly not something I'll pull off in 10 minutes, but there are a whole host of challenges that you are going to experience as soon as you quit. And the longer that you're in it, obviously the better that gets. But I'm 5 years out, and my sleep is still a very, very large. I'm 6 years out. My sleep is really an issue. It's something, and it may be something that I wrestle with for the rest of my life, and a lot of addicts do. It's that's one of I think the last thing to really level out for a lot of addicts is sleep. But just know, people, that we talked about it yesterday in the live feed. I talked about how the two things that are so amazing are just how resilient the human body is, and at the same time just so fragile. You can lose your life in a split second, in the blink of an eye, but when it comes time for the body to start putting itself back together, it is absolutely astounding, the healing properties and the recuperative processes that take place in the body is just, it really will blow you away. I also want to compliment the comment section. I can't do both things at once, people. I really can't. However, when my partner is speaking, I try to get over to the other screen and catch as much as I can. And when you see new people here who are really just opening up and sharing stuff that you're not going to see in other places, you really are just not going to to see people that can be that honest, and especially that new to a channel. And that, people, is all you. That's not me. That's not Mark. That is the people in this comment section doing what they do. And I notice my man Brandon is here. Brandon Calloway, congratulations, my friend, on 2 weeks.
It's awesome, brother. Good job,
weeks.
Man.
Yeah, we're gonna be done with weeks here soon. You're gonna be into celebrating the 1 month mark. Speaking of which, people, I have spoken with, or at least via text, I have spoken to Joe Birdwell, and Joe said that whenever I'm ready, basically, we're going to get him on here for an interview. So that will happen this week, people. So make sure you're looking and checking with us in the morning, so you see which day that's going to be. But we'll be announcing what day that he's coming on. I cannot wait for that. It's been such an unusual thing. I don't see it done before. Right. That we walk people. Miss V, I'm sorry, squirrely.
Yep.
Miss V, congratulations on 14 days. Boy, you know what it is? A 2-week day, isn't it? We could call this the fortnight episode. Am I mistaken on that? A fortnight's 14 days, isn't it?
Fortnight.
If not, someone will correct
something
me.
Like that.
But I'm pretty ssure a fortnight is 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure too. Yeah.
Or a video game, one or the other.
It's both. But yeah, that's awesome, Miss V and Brandon, both of you guys. I mean, and that's what we oftentimes focus on, just the addiction part of it, but that's really what we like to see. It's people recognizing themselves as doing something good. It's such a big part of the process, and a lot of people feel like they're not worthy of that. Let me tell you something, guys. You are 100% worthy of all of that. Any kind of compliments you can get on those kinds of things are going to do nothing but build you a little bit stronger. And you need to hear those kinds of things. I know I did. I still do.
Still do.
Yeah. It's confirmation that you're doing really, really good stuff. And, and again, you just have to, you feel comfortable enough to come here and say it. And that's just so awesome to me. It really is. I just can't even, like I said, guys, I've been running a YouTube channel for 3 years, and yes, I got a really good family environment over on my channel. Arizona's in here, and a few others are back over there too. But this is different. Sorry, it just is. You know, not that people wouldn't share over there too, because they do, but this is a new level of sharing and a new level of trust. And I did not expect that at all. Even when me and Tommy were talking about doing all this, it was, yeah, I just didn't expect it.
So, and Brian Schill, that's a lovely thing to say. I love that. Brian Schill says, Brandon, it will be cool when you can say 14 years instead of 14 days. And then he said, you got this. And you do. You really do, Brandon. You got up, you dusted yourself off. Feels great now, doesn't it, brother? Right? No more beating up on yourself. Now you can put your fist in the air and pump it. And I believe that day I said, look, man, just dust yourself off because it's just a matter of time. We'll be holding this up for you. Gotta make sure I get this in the right way there. Holding this thing up. So you're back. You're fighting the good fight, and we're so proud of you, brother. We really are. Continue the good fight. People, no matter what happens, and I think that this is another one of those issues that people like to debate. How much help do you get outside of yourself when it comes time to quit? And we all know, people, that quitting is something you do personally. It is absolutely up to you. Nobody in the world can carry you across the finish line. It's something that you have to do for yourself. But if you surround yourself with people who are all pulling in the same direction, you have a much better chance of doing it for yourself. We can't do it for you. It's not what this channel is. But what the channel is a place where you can come and talk about the challenges that you're going to face while doing it for yourself. And my hat's off to Deja. Deja, from what I have been catching, and again, I can only do it in small little glimpses, but Deja's just been a great crew member tonight. I'm watching a little bit of the chat back and forth. And you know what, people? The reason that we do these things live is because you're as good at this as Mark and I are. And the fact that so much healing takes place just in the comment section is it is the lifeboat. It's not, the lifeboat's not me, and it sure isn't Mark. It's the love and the caring and all of the things that happen during the live feed. I've said it before. I don't know how much damage I would be doing to everybody if I just went blah, 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 and just allowed you people to do what you do. Because truthfully, the real healing on this boat is all of you, and all of you supporting one another. By the way, Seventh Son is at 14. This is the Fortnite episode. And Deja did confirm that. Good job. Yeah, that's 3 of you that are all celebrating 14 days. That means that a week from now, we'll do the 3-week episode, right? Next Sunday. And, we got the 1-month episode coming up. People, we got a whole crew right at 14 days. That is not an accident, I promise you. That's all of you talking to one another and taking care of each other in the comments section. Joe Birdwell, by the way, Joe, thank you. Again, Joe, made a donation to the lifeboat. Thank you, Joe. Really appreciate you, brother, and cannot wait to have you on. The Seventh Son, you guys are the triplets. That's right. It's the Fortnite triplets. Let's keep this going. All of you. You can all motivate each other and fight this together. That's awesome. It really is. I mean, the dream of the boat, right? Yeah. People coming on here and yelling out sobriety dates really pretty much is the dream that we talked about right in the beginning, and having the ability to highlight those stories, have people come on to do some interviews. Oh, upcoming this week as well. No thanks to my partner. It looks like Rip Curl and I will probably be putting something together. I had an opportunity. I told him I was going to give you a heck about it too. But I talked to Rip yesterday, and we're going to be putting something together. He wants to come on here, and I can't wait. Rip is great. He's just really a.
I gave him your email. Hey, come on now.
And Peyton's Posies, really great to have you here tonight. We're so glad you're on the boat. We really are. And you know what, everybody, all of the new crew member. Before we went live, we were at 1794.
Yep.
Right. So we're really coming in quick to that 1800 mark. People, once again, all you. This is we just come here and we do what we do. I do the smallest amount of it. Mark does the heavy lifting, but you people are the ones who are out, talking to one another about this and telling friends about it. And I'm seeing the shares go out in so many different places. Denise Donegan, good to see you.
Bubba News.
Awesome. Good to see you, Bubba.
Yep. I love to see you guys. I mean, it's awesome. It really is. 12 years. Wow.
Congratulations, Brian. 12 years is awesome. And he makes a great point. Once you can get the chemical, and that is no longer an issue, then you can really start to concentrate on all of the other things that, that are really important. I've said it on other videos before, spirituality and money management and all of those things, they really are some of the most important things in a normal life. But if you're putting needles in your arm, it's a very difficult thing to concentrate on any of those other things. Or if you're drinking, a fifth a day. But Brian makes a good point. If you can eliminate that, then all of those other things start becoming something that you can tackle. And for me anyway, I don't know if this is the same for everybody, but for me, those were other points of contact, right? Those were things that all of a sudden, the fact that I had bills to worry about, the fact that I had things to take care of, became a whole new part of my life, and honestly made life easier, not harder. But I certainly wouldn't have been ready to do it, take it and tackle all of those things in the first couple of weeks. In the beginning, it really is just about getting through each of those days sober. But I love just how much good the comment section on this, on this channel is doing. You people are absolutely amazing, and I'm so happy that this has turned into a live channel. It's a little bit more of a challenge because you got to put together an hour's worth of, of content, but it's, man, is it worth it to see you all interact the way that you do and support one another. It's, no pun intended, but literally this is a dream come true. And Mark can tell you, because we talked about this, we talked about this before it happened for, like I said, that first night for 3 or 4 hours.
Yep.
I mean, we went over just everything that we hoped this was going to become, and, grace of God and thanking all of you people. It really is becoming that.
It's confirmation for me and Tommy when you guys do that stuff in the chat. It really is. It's confirmation. It lets us know that, even, because I kind of worried about this at the beginning. If we're not, like, if something happens and one of us isn't here, or God forbid, both of us aren't here for a minute or whatever, I'll make sure everybody's all right. And watching the chat, you guys are going to be fine.
Yeah.
You got each other. I mean, and that's so awesome. And that's kind of what we really wanted to build. I mean, it really is, because we're not ignorant to the fact that you guys got to go, when you get off this chat, you're going right back to real life. We see that, we know that, because we do the same thing. And that's where going back and looking at this chat and remembering the chat can help you. And I really do believe that, because I do it all the time in my own mind. I really do.
Well, and now that Mark is, I wasn't smart enough to figure out how to make it so that you could go back and read the live chat again after the video had been posted, but my partner has done that so that you can go back and relive all those. Another Brian Schill says, imagine if all 1,700 the people could come to a live feed at once. It would be awesome. We would have to really slow that puppy down, and that's something people that one of the live feeds we did a couple of days ago, we had the most number of people that we've ever had on, and it's a reality. Mark and I were talking about it yesterday. The day is coming, people, where we're going to have to slow. There's a feature you can do here to slow down the chat, because even that night it was going through at a clip that you see it over at Wages World a lot, where the chat's moving so fast that you really can't even keep up with it. So that's part of the growing. I'm glad right now, really I am, that the crew that we have can take care of one another. It will become more of a challenge as we go on. So my challenge to the crew would be this: when that happens, all of you, step up and just become that support system for the new people. And the beauty is this, honestly, people, the beauty is anytime you do a live feed, you're only going to get a certain percentage of the people who do this. There are a percentage that just sort of lurk, and that's always going to be the nature of it. But for those who get engaged, we want to make sure that we can support these people as much as we possibly can. And you people are, you're doing that. So,
yep.
And we're right at that top of the hour, people. So I do want to keep this to the schedule that we try to keep up. So we're going to be tomorrow morning at 8:00 is the next time we're going to meet. Keep in mind, people, the morning videos are no longer just a, hey, we'll tell you what we're doing at night. The morning videos now do have content. We're starting off with either a quote or an inspiration and making announcements as well. But do tune in the mornings, people. It's a great way to start the day. If you can stay focused in your recovery, a couple of times a day, just taking that time to think about sobriety and to think about those issues is going to keep you on the path. We really believe that. That's a mixed metaphor, isn't it? It's going to keep you on an even keel, your correct heading. Whatever. I am Captain Tommy Scoville. Happy Halloween, everybody. I am your Captain Tommy Scoville, and that is
Mark Wages.
All righty, people. Between now and tomorrow morning at 8:00, you know exactly what we want you to do. To reach out there and try to save somebody. Good night, everybody.